Hey, good afternoon. I'm Senator Andrew Chesney. I represent Northwest Illinois. I don't think that many thought just 2 weeks ago you could go to the left of Lori Lightfoot, and we saw that just a few weeks ago in a recent election. And I think a lot of people scratched their head in Chicago and throughout the state of Illinois and perhaps the country, how a record, as our colleagues have pointed out, that have been almost predominantly dominated by Democrat and toxic policies, and how these can reflect well in the state of the state of Illinois and the city of Chicago. And we could look at education and the failing grades. We can look at the crime problems, and we see this national debate on crime all the time. This happens every day in the city of Chicago, folks. Every day, people of color are getting hurt and shot at, and yet people in Chicago are largely silent on it. They want more gun control. We have the most restrictive gun legislation in the entire country, but certainly in all of the Midwest, we have some of the most restrictive gun regulation. And yet, people are getting hurt. And all we ask as Republicans is people that do bad things get punished. That's all we ask for. That isn't a controversial position. We're asking for people to be held accountable. And yet, what we saw is the governor and now the speaker and the president provide cover to distract from this progressive ideology. That's what this was today during this joint session, was to offer cover for the mayor-elect. Because his issues of not caring for police officers and law and order and not protecting his residents is very alive and well in his policies and what he said on the campaign trail. And you're probably asking why those are standing up against the mayor and these progressive ideology and this progressive position is because it affects us too. Chicago's problems ultimately become the state's problems. That's why the mayor's down here right now asking for hundreds of millions of dollars of new revenue, while he is seeing an outmigration of people that once used to say yes to Chicago are now saying no, and they're firing the mayor and moving somewhere else. Well, pretty soon those people that are firing Chicago, they end up firing the state of Illinois, and they move. And so while we see an outmigration of population within our state, all we're asking for are very simple things. Let's hold the very few, but the bad teachers accountable. If they are failing our kids, let's just hold them accountable. And the people that protect the status quo is the Chicago Teachers Union. They're the ones that elected the mayor-elect a few weeks ago. And the policies that they put forward are hurting the next generation of doers in our society. It is not controversial to say that I support law enforcement and that I want bad people that do bad things to go to jail. That is not controversial. That isn't some right-wing position. That's common sense. And you know what we hear from the left? We hear all about equity. Equity was when the governor allowed people to jump the line, and he allowed COVID shots to go in people's arms that were prisoners ahead of our elderly. He let people that had cancer patients have to wait while he vaccinated people in prisons first. That's the record of the radical left. That's why we're here right now talking about the progressive policies that are putting forward in Chicago that are impacting all of us. Because make no mistake, Chicago's problems become our problems very, very quickly. And here's how I know why. It's because the mayor's not down here right now for any other reason to ask for more money. First, it becomes the money that he's going to take out of the Chicago coffers. Then it's going to be the money that comes out of all our pockets too. And that's why we have to stand up against this. And that's why we're right on the issues. And we have to stop this left-wing progressive ideology that is destroying and crushing our state.